When we think about getting around a city like New York, you know, we usually picture things at street level.
Yeah.
The subway, the traffic, the buses and bikes.
Right.
But something else is kind of like rising above all that.
It really is, literally, up in the air.
Exactly.
Helicopters.
Yeah, helicopter commuting, private air charters. It's a trend we're seeing a lot more of, especially in New York.
Especially in New York, big time. And we've got this really interesting article all about it.
It's like, for this deep dive.
Yeah, for this deep dive, we're going to look at why this is happening.
Who's doing it?
Exactly. And, not everyone's happy about it.
Right. There's definitely a debate brewing.
Oh, yeah.
So for all of you listening, we're going to break it all down.
Yeah, all the key stuff.
How helicopter travel is changing things.
The reasons behind it.
The complaints from people on the ground.
And even, what might happen with electric aircraft.
Ooh, that's cool.
It is.
Yeah.
So the big question is the sky becoming, the new playground for the rich?
And what does that mean for everyone else?
Yeah, what does it mean for the rest of us? Let's jump in.
Okay, so this article starts with this guy, Ernesto Tay. He works for a software company, and he uses Blade helicopters, all the time.
Yeah, to get between Manhattan and JFK.
It's become his normal commute.
Like a bus, almost.
Which is crazy, but it kind of makes sense when you look at the numbers.
Yeah, a 9-minute Blade flight can cost $95 if you have a pass.
Okay.
But an Uber at rush hour, forget it. Over an hour, easily over $100.
Yeah, so time is money, right?
Time.
But it's not just about that. I mean, Tay himself talks about how much he enjoys it.
Yeah, he calls it fun, says the views are amazing.
It's like an experience, not just a way to get from A to B.
Right. And Blade, they're kind of the big name in this whole thing.
Blading. I've heard people say that, about going to the Hamptons.
Yeah, it's become a verb.
Wow.
And their business is booming.
They said they made $2 million in passenger revenue in 2014.
That's right.
But last year,
over $100 million.
$100 million.
Yeah.
That's huge.
It is. And they're expanding.
Beyond the Hamptons.
They've got this $95 airport shuttle.
Okay.
To Long Island, New Jersey.
And they're really pushing it as a way to avoid that new congestion pricing toll in the city.
Smart marketing, right.
It is. I mean, Blade's CEO, Rob Wiesenthal, says when you add up parking, tolls, congestion pricing, it's actually cheaper to fly with them than to drive yourself.
Makes sense.
But then the article's like, hello, the A train from JFK is only $2.90.
Right. So it's all about what you value, right?
And for some people, time is the most valuable thing.
Definitely. And convenience.
Like this woman, Stephanie Furman. She's in the article. She was visiting for work.
Okay.
She basically says Blade is like her bus.
Because, an Uber from the airport could take an hour and a half.
Easy.
And cost $200.
Oof.
So for her, it's just practical.
Yeah, a helicopter makes sense. Then there's this other guy, Donald Collins.
Yeah, he used a Blade gift card
Right.
to take a joyride.
So totally different reasons for using the service.
Exactly. You've got executives, assistants, Hampton goers, commuters, thrill seekers.
It's not just the super rich anymore.
Nope. And they're getting younger too.
And busier.
Their busiest days are Thursday, Friday, and Monday.
People going away for long weekends.
Mixing business with pleasure.
Sounds nice.
But there's another side to this story.
Yeah, the people who are not so happy about all these helicopters.
Yeah, noise complaints are way up.
In New York.
In New York City, yeah. In 2019, they had 3,332 noise complaints.
Okay.
In 2021, it jumped to 25,916. That's almost a 700% increase.
Wow.
It went down a bit in 23 and 24.
Okay.
But it's still way more than before the pandemic.
Yeah, that's a lot of complaints.
And it lines up with all these new private charters and commuter flights.
On top of the sightseeing and police helicopters.
Yeah. The city council did an analysis last May.
Go.
They found that airport trips from Manhattan and the tour helicopters from New Jersey were causing the most problems.
Makes sense. But are they doing anything about it?
Well, that's the thing. The article says that local and state and federal leaders, they haven't really taken much action.
People are complaining, but nothing's changing.
Pretty much.
That's frustrating. And it's not just about being annoyed.
No, this noise can be bad for your health.
Really?
Yeah, this UCLA professor, Nick Shapiro, he talks about how helicopter noise can increase your stress hormones.
Oh, wow.
Mess with your heart and metabolism, even shorten your lifespan.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Wow.
And there was a study a few years ago that linked aviation noise to bad sleep.
Makes sense.
higher risk of heart problems,
Yikes.
and kids having trouble in school.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And helicopters, they're just like especially annoying.
Why is that?
Well, they're loud and they come and go all the time.
It's unpredictable.
Exactly. Plus, they fly lower than planes and they don't have to follow the same routes.
Oh, so they can kind of just go wherever.
Pretty much. And, some people are more sensitive to noise than others.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Like if you've lived in a war zone, you're going to react differently to loud, sudden noises.
Yeah, of course. It's like a trigger.
Exactly.
What about those police helicopters?
Oh, the LAPD. Yeah, they use those for patrols.
They're super loud.
I know, and they do it on purpose.
Scare criminals.
Yeah, they think it deters crime.
Does it work?
Well, there was this audit. They found that it didn't really reduce crime much.
But it costs a lot of money.
$47 million a year.
So much noise. For what?
It's a tough question.
Yeah.
But this whole noise thing, it's not new in New York.
Really?
Yeah, back in the 90s, Mayor Giuliani closed a heliport because of noise complaints.
Wow.
And in 2016, they almost closed 2 more.
What happened?
They made a deal to cut tourist flights from the city in half.
How many were there before?
60,000 a year. So now it's 30,000.
Okay.
But then, guess what? More helicopter tours started flying out of New Jersey.
To avoid the rules.
Exactly. They just flew over the city instead of starting there.
Oh, clever.
Yeah. So you've got people like Melissa Elstein.
She's in the article.
Yeah, she's trying to get this group going again. Stop the chop, NYNJ.
Because of the noise.
Yeah, all these tourist helicopters, no doors, people hanging out, taking selfies.
Wild.
It is.
But she's getting some support.
Yeah, from Congress, from local officials.
But the city can't just make all the rules.
That's the problem. The city controls the heliports, but the FAA controls the airspace.
So they need to work together.
Exactly.
Is anyone trying to do that?
Well, there's this bill in Congress.
What would it do?
Ban non-essential helicopters over New York City.
Wow, that's big.
Yeah.
Who's behind that?
Some New York representatives, Nadler, Maloney, and Velasquez. And some local lawmakers want to stop all tourist and commuter flights from city-owned heliports.
So no more helicopters for the rich and famous.
Well, this one council member, Lincoln Ressler, he said he doesn't want the city helping out the uber elite.
At the expense of everyone else.
Exactly.
So banning helicopters, it's possible.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they've got no-fly zones over the White House, the Capitol, Disney World.
Makes sense.
And Paris banned non-essential helicopter flights a while ago.
Wow.
And in Europe, they're trying to get rid of short plane flights to cut down on emissions.
So things are changing.
Yeah.
Interesting. But this article doesn't end there.
Nope. It talks about electric helicopters.
But like battery powered?
eVTOLs.
What does that stand for?
Electric vertical takeoff and landing.
Okay.
The FAA says they could be approved for commercial flights by 2025.
Wow, that's soon.
Yeah, and by 2028, they could be everywhere.
So we could see a future where everyone's zipping around in electric helicopters?
Maybe. Blade is already looking into it.
They want to ditch their regular helicopters.
Eventually, yeah.
Wow.
This guy, Eric Allison, he works for Joby Aviation.
They make eVTOLs.
Yeah, he says this is like a really exciting new age for transportation.
Getting around in the air instead of on the ground.
Exactly.
But is it only for rich people?
Well, Joby is working with Uber, Delta, Toyota, even the government.
So they're thinking big.
Oh, yeah. And they're saying that at first, prices will be similar to Uber Black.
That's still expensive.
It is.
But not as bad as a regular helicopter.
Right. And they're hoping to get the price down to, like, Uber X eventually.
Wow.
Yeah, they're already testing them in Dubai.
Really?
Yeah, and they're waiting for approval in the U.S.
So it's coming.
It is.
Interesting how New York is reacting to all this.
Yeah, they were against more helicopters, but now they're kind of excited about eVTOLs.
Because they're electric?
Yeah, quieter and no emissions.
Makes sense.
Some people even want to lift the flight caps for electric aircraft.
So they could be even more common than helicopters.
Right.
They already did a test flight in Manhattan a few months ago.
Yeah, with a Joby aircraft and one from Germany.
And Mayor Adams is predicting personal electric helicopters in the future.
He is.
Wow. So this is really happening.
It seems like it.
Even people who are against helicopters, like Amanda Farias, she's on the city council.
Yeah.
She thinks electric air taxis could be good.
Yeah, innovative and sustainable.
But some people are still cautious.
Oh, yeah, like Lincoln Ressler.
He wants to be careful.
He says we need to figure out what eVTOLs will actually mean for the city before we make any rules.
Smart.
And Blade, They're already expanding their JFK flights to the downtown heliport.
Why?
To get data for when they switch to eVTOLs.
So it's like they're already preparing for the future.
Exactly. It's come fast.
So about that question we asked at the beginning.
About the sky becoming a playground for the rich.
Yeah.
Complicated.
Right.
Helicopters, yeah, mostly rich people use those.
Because they're so expensive.
Right. But eVTOLs, they could be more affordable.
Maybe not for everyone, but for more people than helicopters.
Exactly.
So here's something for you all to think about. What needs to happen to make this work for everyone?
Yeah, this highway in the sky with helicopters and eVTOLs.
How do we make it convenient for some people but not ruin things for everyone else?
Right. How do we make sure it's sustainable?
And fair.
Big questions.
Yeah.
Lots to consider as the skies above our cities get busier and busier.
And this whole helicopter thing, it makes you think about bigger issues too.
Yeah, like the future of transportation, how technology is changing our cities.
And what it all means for society.
Definitely.
Food for thought.
It is.